Now, starting with Ukraine. In a major diplomatic push, top officials now from the US, Europe and Ukraine have gathered in Geneva to discuss with the United States a controversial draft plan to end the Russia-Ukraine war. Now, these talks come amid a growing anxiety in Kyiv and across Europe as well over what many see as sweeping concessions being given to Russia as part of the peace plan. Now, the US proposal given to President Zelensky with a Thursday deadline requires Ukraine to cede territory, limit its military and also drop its NATO ambitions. So for many Ukrainians and also the frontline soldiers who have been engaged in this war, these terms amount to near submission after almost 4 years of war. Senior US officials, including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Secretary of State Marco Rubio, they also arrived in Geneva saying that they hope to iron out the final details, though nothing will be final until Trump and Zelensky meet. Let's listen in as to what the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has to say on the negotiations.
We arrived here today with one goal, and the goal was to take is 28 points or 26 points, depending on which version as it continued to evolve, and try to narrow the ones that were open items. And we have achieved that today in a very substantial way. Now, obviously, like any final agreement, they'll have to be agreed upon by the presidents. And there are a couple issues that we need to continue to work on. But I think the report today is that I think today was worthwhile. It was very, very, it is probably the most productive day we have had on this issue. Maybe in the entirety of our engagement, but certainly in a very long time. But work remains, and because this continues to be a working process, I don't want to declare victory or finality here. There's still some work to be done, but we are much further ahead today at this time than we were when we began this morning and where we were a week ago for certain. Whether it's Thursday, whether it's Friday, whether it's Wednesday, whether it's Monday of the following week, we want it to be soon because people are going to, between today and the time we deal with this, more people are going to die. More destruction is going to happen. Our goal is to end this war as soon as possible, but we need a little more time.
Now, viewers, European leaders who say that they were not consulted on the original proposal are now pushing for improvements. National security advisors from France, Germany, Britain, EU as well as Italy are now in Geneva, and they're working on a parallel European draft built off the US plan. Ukraine's delegation also said that the plan risks undermining the country's dignity, freedom and even its alliance with Washington. Moscow, meanwhile, has called the draft a basis for negotiations at least, though the Kremlin is also expected to oppose the parts of the proposal requiring Russian pullbacks. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump has now launched a sharp attack on Ukrainian president. Now, in a post on Truth Social, Trump accused Kyiv's leadership of showing no gratitude for American support. And in fact, this is the latest attack that is coming from the US president against Zelensky.
Let me tell you that the kind of proposal which is has been circulated by United States and which has been leaked in the media, essentially it means that there is some the major concessions are being given to Russia. Some of the people are saying that it's Russia's wish list. Most of the demands, if you see, the Russia's maximalist demands have been included in the proposal. When it was asked to Secretary Rubio, he also kind of consented that yes, most of the Russian demands are there, but he also said that probably further negotiations will take place. What is happening at this moment is Trump is coercing Ukraine to sign the peace deal because United States Trump administration knows that without accepting some of the major demands which Russia calls it root causes, without that this ceasefire plan of Trump will not go further. And that's exactly the reason most of the demands have been included, which includes the demands first and the foremost is the NATO's membership will not be given to Ukraine. Second, and the most important, and Ukraine is objecting to that territory which Russia has captured, that would be accepted as Russian territory. Third, the number of army would be reduced to 6 lakh army for Ukraine. And also, the proposal says that European Union or NATO will not be sending its military to Ukraine for any defense. What has been given to Ukraine is just one thing. Very vaguely, it says that there'll be some kind of security guarantee for Ukraine, but the details are missing. What is happening that European Union is feeling left out because European Union, it seems that European Union was not consulted before the 28-point peace proposal of Trump. So now they're meeting in Geneva and they are saying two things, that Ukraine should have right to join or decide its future, whether it wants to join European Union or it wants to join NATO. So that should be that right should remain with the sovereign state called Ukraine. And second, they're also saying that this is the issue of European security. There are very subtle causes, very measured in terms of not going too much against the United States. But there is a tension and unease in European Union, and that's exactly the reason you see that most of the important leaders, especially E3, they are calling it, France, Germany, and UK, they are meeting in Geneva, and also Rubio and Italy and other representatives will be there. And if you European Union statements which have come, so they are saying on two things: Ukraine's sovereignty is important, and this cannot be taken without without taking into account Ukraine. And second, that European security is important. This is an issue of Europe. So gradually there is some departure in terms of statement, but again, European countries are not in position to take an independent position, and they'll have to ultimately concede to Trump. So it depends how much Trump can actually concede to the European demands.
And our viewers are Catherine Golistra. She's one of the nearly 200,000 Ukrainian refugees who are now living in legal limbo in the United States. This comes after President Donald Trump decided to pause the Ukrainian humanitarian program back in January, citing security reasons. Take a look at this report, which tells you how life is now panning out for these refugees.
Katerina Golistra is one of the nearly 200,000 Ukrainian refugees living in legal limbo in the United States. The 35-year-old is waiting for President Donald Trump's administration to decide the fate of a humanitarian program that allowed some 260,000 people who fled the war in Ukraine to live and work in the US. After her home in the Kyiv suburb of Bucha was destroyed in the spring of 2020, Golistra was resettled in Florida through the Biden-era humanitarian parole program. But when Trump returned to the White House in January, his administration froze parole renewal applications for months, saying it was needed for security reviews. Golistra said she paid $2,000 to renew her status and apply for a backup option, but the applications stalled. Her legal status then lapsed in May, meaning she lost her work permit, health insurance, and was forced to leave her job.
It's a constant stress, anxiety, what I will do next, what I will do tomorrow, for how long I can survive. If I will need to leave the States, then I have to build something again that I was trying to build for the last 2.5 years.
According to internal US government data reviewed by Reuters, the Trump administration's processing delays has left nearly 200,000 people at risk of losing their legal status as of March 31st. The number of Ukrainians affected by the delays has not previously been reported. Reuters spoke with 24 Ukrainians who lost their work permits and their jobs due to delays in processing renewals. They include tech workers, a preschool teacher, a financial planner, an interior designer, and a college student. They describe digging into their savings, seeking out community support, and taking on debt to support themselves while they wait for a decision on their status. Some of the people interviewed by Reuters said they were worried they could be arrested by US immigration authorities. Others said they were staying indoors or had left the US for Canada, Europe, and South America.